P31 Diva coming to you with another Sisterlocks vlog. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2019. And I just came back from a retightening about an hour ago. So I wanted to show you my hair. I got a side part today. And I don't make a lot of videos these days because I'm doing a lot of in real life things, but the main thing is because I want to have something new to share with you, and so I have something new, so I wanted to share. Update on shampoo. I've been using the Trader Joe's Tea Tree Tingle shampoo, and despite the rave reviews that most people give, I'm just kind of ho-hum about it, which I don't know how I feel about that because it costs a good amount, but I will continue. Everything's going fine with my hair. This lock, did you see it's wide open at the end? That's because this lock will just come undone. So I'm trying to see if we can get this one to stay. But what I wanted to share with you is that I'm going to be snipping some of my ends, not to create even locks, not to get rid of bunching, but to get rid of some, what I'm going to call scraggly or scruffy ends. And there are a few locks that I'll be able to find. I'm not going to do all of them, but I wanted to do a few on camera. So here's what I mean. Okay, see this one, I'm not going to bother. You see how it still has a curly Q at the bottom? I'm not going to bother that one. This lock has a nice blunted end. See the difference? This lock, you see that? That little piece I'm going to snip off. So, and now, one, I'm not a Sisterlocks consultant, nor am I a trainee or any way affiliated. I just have Sisterlocks. Two, speak with your consultant. But I have a bud here. My locks are a little bit over 3.5 years old. I have a bud here, solid bud, but this hair is just not going to lock, and it's just kind of doing its own thing. So I want to snip that right under there. And all I did was essentially just cut off these straight hairs that have not locked. And I have a few like that. Again, I'm not going to bother the ones like this with the full curly Q. I'm not going to bother the ones to where it's super high to lose a lot of length. For instance, this one, it's got a little bitty bud down here. But this is really where the lock has a nice strong bud. And so I'm going to come right under here and snip it. Just kind of blunt to that end. And again, this already has a bud on it. So that's what I snipped off. I'm not going to do everyone because I haven't pre-selected every single one, but just in looking through my locks, these are, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I figured I would share this experience. Everybody's locks are different. I have some that are thin, some that are thick. See, look how thin this one is. I'm not going to bother it because the bud is up here, and I'm not going to lose this. I think there were a few over here I wanted to address. Let's see any in there. Let's see. Another small section. Let's see. I'm kind of looking in the mirror and in the. See here. This one. Just to snip off this little end here. That looks better without that little piece. And again, I have a full bud here, nice solid bud here. So, because what I don't want to do is ruin the integrity of my locks by opening up ends. Here's one. See that? Just want to take that guy off. This one, same thing. Am I losing length? I mean, what's that? Inch, half an inch. But in the grand scheme of things, no. Just wanting to have a slightly more tidy appearance on the ends of my locks. This one, I can come right there. And it may look like I'm just kind of going about this, but I've identified off and on over the past few months, like, okay, this lock is here, this lock is over here. And I think there were only maybe 8. Now this one, I'm not going to do. It's pretty high up. The strong bud is about somewhere here, but there's still a little kind of a nodule here. But where I feel the last of the budding is down. I feel one here, but I just don't feel confident in this one. I would like this to get a little bit more solid and strong before I go snipping on this one. So I'm going to leave that one alone. See, this one I'm not going to bother either. It's still very open. So I'm going to leave that one alone. But do you see all the loose hairs that aren't in the lock? And I've done this before, is just go up the side and get just the tail end off, just so that it looks a little bit more uniform. I don't do it to everyone. I don't do this very often. I just do it maybe a handful of times. I've probably done this like 2 other times. Let's see. This will definitely be a one-take video, because I can't reattach that one. So I'll come here, go forward. This is what's left over of that color I put on back in March, the Adore semi-permanent color. Up here, feels like there's a good bud. I like to let it get just a little bit stronger before I take this much off of this end. It's got a fair amount of bunching at the end too, you see that? I think I'll leave this guy alone until it's a little bit further along. This is what's left over of the color from March. It was Adore Intense Red, if I'm not mistaken. Semi-permanent, no ammonia, peroxide, bleach type of a deal. But it has held on well. Now my ends were just kind of pre-lightened from life, so that definitely helped. This one, the strong bud is somewhere up here. There's a little one here. So I'm not really ready to snip over there because I don't want this to open up. If in doubt, I'm leaving it alone. I can always go back and snip it later, but you can't unsnip. But yeah, those are the major ones. So it looks like it was 1, 2, 3. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what I ended up snipping. Oh, dropped that a little bit. So that's what I ended up snipping. Just the ones, there it is, and this one. Just those little kind of scraggly ends, for lack of a better term, that just look a little bit better with that blunted end. What else about my hair? I'm still loving it. I don't regret having Sisterlocks. Do I miss having a loose hair? There are times where I see people who have loose hair and I'm like, oh, I want to take my locks down. See how this is really thin right there? So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. And as this bud gets more secure, I'll probably end up coming back and snipping this one off. But then I sit and think about my hair being down and loose, and I quickly change my mind. So it's more or less a passing fancy, not a real hardcore, like, oh, I want loose hair to do this. Because I've only had a relaxer for 6 years of my life, and I never wanted a relaxer. So that being said, I remember what my hair was before I ever had a relaxer, and then I'm very, very familiar with my hair being loose prior to have locked it, because I kept my hair loose for several years. That being said, I'm 3.5 years in. I feel like I'll probably keep my Sisterlocks at least for 10 years. And then, I don't know, go from there. But I feel like if I ever take my locks down, my only option is going to be super short boy cut, sexy boy cut, girl cut. Because I just don't see myself twisting and doing all that other stuff that I used to do when it was loose. But I've enjoyed so much actually wearing my hair out. I think that's the thing that I get most without damaging it. I still do some protective styling here and there. I do work to make sure I change up where I'm making ponytails. I'm a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer now. And so I do make sure that I'm mindful of not over, wearing out one portion of my hair by always putting ponytail here or here. So I do work to change my parts, change the styling. Sometimes I braid and just bend at the ends, just say 2 French braids or 2 Dutch braids going down. Sometimes I pull up in a bun or a half bun. Sometimes I basket weave up, things like that, just to take a break off of my hair so that the same hairs aren't always getting worn. As far as that, I probably will do a protective style because that's typically my MO immediately after a retightening, just for the first week. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that. A little bit of loose hair. And then I will figure out what to do for the next week. I went 4 weeks in between my retightening, and man, it felt like 4 months. My hair is just in a growth phase right now, I guess. See this loose hair here? But the bud is okay. I'll probably leave this one alone for now. When in doubt, leave it out, as they say. But yeah, any questions about snipping those ends? This is the first time I've snipped ends like that. I have snipped, say, on the shaft a little bit, like for instance, can you see? Probably not. But there's hair that's all the way down here, and it's the end of the hair, not a loop to where I'm cutting into the matrix of the lock. I have a couple of times cleaned up a few just around the top. A couple probably being 2 at most. I don't do it very, very often. I pretty much leave it alone. I have started using just a few oils in my hair. I'll use coconut oil. For instance, after I finish this video. And you know what? Let's just do it on camera right now. Still a little bit slightly damp, excuse me, from having shampooed my hair prior to my retightening. This is coconut oil that I got from Aldi. And I'm going to use a random amount. This is about 1/4 size. I rub it through my hands. I focus more on my ends. And then what I like to do is things like that to really make sure I'm getting it in. And then I will go slightly up the length of my locks. Just kind of finger comb through. I typically only oil post shampoo. I haven't noticed any buildup or any change in my locks or any heaviness or anything of that nature because I'm using just pure coconut oil, no other ingredients, just organic coconut oil. Outside of that, I will spray with a diluted mix of water with a little peppermint oil or lavender or whatever I happen to have. And I also still use occasionally, maybe once a month, this, I think it's called Aunt Jackie's. Let's see. Aunt Jackie's half and half. I mix it with water and then I put it into my sprayer. And I will spray that maybe once a month or once in between retightenings. I don't do it very often. I usually use the water mix a bit more, just if my hair needs a little bit of a refreshing in between shampoos. I have calmed down on the shampooing. I was going once every week at one point, then I kind of slowed it back down to about every, if I had to say, I shampoo my hair when my hair needs to be shampooed. I try to go no more than 3 weeks. So probably every 2 to 2.5 weeks I'll shampoo. And I'm on about a 4 to 5 week retightening schedule. Sometimes I will go 6 weeks, but even with 4 weeks today, she was able to do a full rotation with no problems. Because I told her, I was like, I felt like it had been longer. My last retightening was May 17th. And she was like, I'm able to do a full rotation without any issues. So this is how my hair looks post retightening at 3.5 years. I'll be 4 years in November of 2019. So 4 years is coming. I'm past the halfway point. And I'm loving it. Only regret, I wish I probably had done it sooner. But really, I did it at the timing that was right for me. So that's not even a really big regret. Yeah. Anyway, you guys have a day and or night as beautiful as you are. Take care. Bye.